Hi, this is Jim Gibson with Nova Voice and Data Systems and also CableSupply.com. The other day, a friend of a friend of a friend came in. Never met her before, but she had her little cell phone with her, and she said, "There's something on my screen. My computer doesn't work anymore." And she showed me the picture on her cell phone, and it was ransomware. And I said, I explained to her that it was ransomware, and that meant that her system was completely encrypted, and it was an evil organization somewhere in the world, and that they wanted a ransom, and ransom was quite significant. This was a couple months ago. And I said, you have two choices. And I said, this is what you do. It's easily solved. I said, so the first choice is to pay ransom, and I said I wouldn't recommend that. I said the second choice is just erase everything on your network and start all over again, reinstall your software, and take your backup and install a clean database from your backup. And she looked at me and she said, well, I've been told by my IT guy that the backup is encrypted. I said, backup's encrypted? How did that happen? She said, well, he backed up to the RAID drive because he had so much storage on a RAID drive, and it went out and encrypted the RAID drive also. So I said, well, then you're in trouble. I don't know if I can help you. And she goes, well, can't you break this code? And I said, no, this is pretty much unbreakable. So what is ransomware? Well, ransomware is a virus. It's something that you receive from a certain organization, so it's not miscellaneous. It's just not something out there to ruin, everybody's life on. There's financial gains in doing this, and so they send you this software package, and you're actually clicking on it some way, or you're getting it from a thumb drive or from a website that's infected with it. So as you get this, what it does is it goes out and it looks for certain type of databases and software, and it encrypts those databases and software. And then what it will do is put up on your screen, it will put up the fact that it's encrypted, and you got to send Bitcoin, and that's a discussion for another day, what Bitcoin is. But you got to send them a certain amount of untraceable funds. The Bitcoin is untraceable when you send it. And then they will send you the key to unlock your encrypted database. So this is ransomware. And now the encryption they use is called AES. And it's a pretty strong encryption. It's what the NSA uses, the government uses, a lot of people use it. And it's solid. It is very hard to break, if you can even break it. I don't believe you can right now. I don't think we have the technology to break that software. And in fact, that was one of the questions she asked, could I break the software? And I told her no, I could not. It's not breakable at this point. Not practically breakable. I imagine at some point it will be. But, and she said next, well, how did I get this? And I said, well, you got it either through a thumb drive, someone plugging in a thumb drive that had it already on the thumb drive, or you went to a website and you clicked on a link at the website and it downloaded the software and it executed. And I said, and at that point, that's how you got it. And the website person may not have known that they were hacked even, that this was put there under one of their links. So that's basically how you get it. You can also get it through an email attachment. You download an email, you click on something, it comes to you. The real nasty ones have worms in them too, and the worm is a software, a virus software that will go out and look for other computers on your local area network, and once it finds another computer, it will upload this package of ransomware into that computer. So other people on your network can be affected also. Usually it's a whole network that's affected. Everybody gets a ransomware that's on your network if you don't defend yourself properly from it. So another variant will also go into your contact list and will send nice pleasant emails with your name on it to all your friends, and your friends will not appreciate the fact that they also now have ransomware on their website. So what does it do to your business? You know, in this case, that lady that came in to talk to me, when she returned 2 or 3 weeks later, she said, you know, we didn't pay the ransom, but a lot of my employees kept their personal work on their thumb drives. And I thought, oh, the thumb drives. Keep those thumb drives away from your network. They can be full of viruses on it. But anyway, she said, so they uploaded all their personal work back into the computer. But she says, you know, we've lost so much with this ransomware that we can't get back. And I said, well, how long have you been in business? And she said, 15 years. And I said, well, sorry, but there are ways to prevent this. And there are things you can do to protect yourself from ransomware. And of course, she said, well, what do you do to prevent ransomware from attacking you? And I said, well, there's a lot of things you need to do. First of all, if you have a decent operating system like Windows 10 or even Windows 7, but I would stick with Windows 10, the latest, greatest. It's the most secure software operating system out there. I said, so you do that, stay away from XP. XP is very old. They don't provide patches for that anymore, but it's an older software, and it may work. You may have old computers out there and it's working great on and everything else, but it's not a good, solid, secure operating system. So you really need the latest, greatest operating system, and that's going to be Windows 10. And when you get Windows 10, you got to make sure that you patch it. What I mean by patching is Microsoft has patches that they're for free will deliver to you once a month, and you need to install those patches in your operating system. And if you go into your operating system under patches, under updates, you can see you can ask for them to be installed automatically. You know, downloaded and installed on a regular basis, and it's usually once a month, the second week of each month, usually on a Tuesday evening. And what they'll do is they'll send you these patches and they will install automatically. I have not had any problems with patches. Years ago I did, but I have not had any problems with patches. Microsoft's pretty good at doing this. And they really have a solid operating system in Windows 10. And so when they send out patches, what they're doing is these patches are fixing problems in the software, a lot of times concerning security, and that's the ones you're concerned with. And there is no perfect software. So they do the best job they can before they introduce the software to the public. Once this software is introduced to the public, you know, even though it's made by man, so it's not perfect. So when they find problems with that software, free of charge, they're sending you fixes that self-load. You really don't need to do anything. You just download them, or they'll download automatically if you allow your system to do it. But you got to keep up with your patches. You really do. And you need to patch other software that's not automatically patched. So if you have other other software running on your computer, you should make it a habit to patch it on a regular basis. The next thing is you really need antivirus. You got to be crazy today not to run antivirus on your website. On your computer. You really need it. And then, of course, I already talked about operating system should be the latest, greatest, and everything else. The last thing, and here's the thing that's going to save you, okay? It's going to be a really good backup on a regular basis, not once every 3 months. I would say a minimum once a day. Some people do it, you know, every 15 minutes they back up. But you should have a solid backup, not on tape. It should be a solid backup using a backup system. And here's the key: it has to be air-gapped. It has to be a gap between your backup and your system. That physical gap, that's what it means by an air gap. That it's not part of your system, it only connects to your system to do the upload, or you send that upload to a cloud that manages it for you. And the reason why is that if they're connected together, well then if you get that ransomware here, you'll have the ransomware over here. And that's what happened with that, that nice business lady who, her IT guy backed up to the RAID drive. Sounds logical. I mean, you got all this extra drive space on a RAID drive. Why not use it for backup? And that was a logical way to do it 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It's not today. You really need that air gap. And that's why I told her that, hey, this is no problem. You know, the standard practice today is air gapping. So what you do is you just go out and erase everything, make sure everything is erased on your computers and all your hard drives, reload the software, and then bring in your backup again. Now the reason why I say don't use tape backup is because tape backup 65% of the time fails. So you do not want to use tape backup today. There's a lot of other backup mediums besides tape. You know, you got cloud, you have, you know, just hard drives. That back thing, you know, you can back up every night too, and just keep that air gap. And you got to have more than one copy. You know, one is none, two is one, is a saying in backup world. So you should have more than one copy somewhere. You know, a local copy that's maybe attached, but one it's air gapped, at least air gapped from the rest of the system. So you really need a solid backup. And then next, you know, and I don't like throwing IT guys under the bus, so I'll be gentle here. I asked her about our IT guy because he should have known better. They should have had some decent backup, should have been air gapped. He should have had patches, he should have antivirus, he should have had decent OS, and maybe she didn't provide the resources for him to have that. But I made a comment about that, you know, in reality, he needed a little more training in cybersecurity. And the trouble is a lot of IT people in our industry learned IT years ago, and they're not up to date on the latest threats when it comes to cybersecurity. And there's a lot of threats out there, and it's a lot different now than it was even a couple years ago. And so one of her comments was that he was a 19-year-old guy who was a friend of a friend of a friend or something like that, and he was a great person. He knew how to put together PCs. He was a gamer, and I mean, let me tell you, those gamers really know PCs front and back. They really do, and I'm impressed with some of the systems they put together. But they're not necessarily, not everyone, but in this case, this guy was not an IT or cybersecurity person, and sometimes people confuse functionality with something being right. And in this case, this guy was great with PCs. He put together a network. The PCs were working fine. Everyone said, wow, he's a genius. You know, everything's working fine, nothing, no downtime and everything else. And we're just saving a ton of money and paying this guy almost nothing. Well, there's a big difference between price and cost. In reality, it cost this lady 2 weeks downtime before she could partially get back what she lost. She probably lost stuff that she'll never get back. But in this case, the difference between price and cost, it cost her a lot. She probably could have had someone who was a little more experienced, especially in cybersecurity. So just to let you know, even though CableSupply.com sells parts. Nova Voice and Data Systems does cybersecurity along with everything else you need in a network, and we're national. We go, you know, coast to coast. We have 6,000 installations all over the United States. We know all about firewalls. We know all about intrusion detection and prevention systems and routers and switches, and we can install them anywhere. And you know, I hear people that buy cheap routers and cheap switches and firewalls and all. And again, the difference between price and cost. This is not a place where you want to skimp. Routers, switches, firewalls last a lot longer than PCs. So you you build a solid network that's based on solid IT principles, but are also installed and programmed by someone that's a cybersecurity trained IT guy. And there's not a lot of them out there, by the way. So again, you can have a network that works fine. You get a switch out of a box, you plug it in. There's another video on that. But you plug it in, it's going to work. But it doesn't mean that switch is secure. It takes additional programming. It takes a plan to do this right. I could talk forever on this subject, but that's for another day, another video. But just to let you know, Cable Supply does not provide cybersecurity. It provides parts. So if you call Cable Supply, our sister company, and you say, I need cybersecurity, they're not going to be able to help you. If you need IT support anywhere in the United States, all 50 states, we've been in business for 27, 28 years. We can help you not only with your IT requirements, and that can include cabling and giving you advice on what PCs to buy and things like that, but more importantly today, especially today, is that you need that cyber security programming and design so it protects you from ransomware. Remember, there is a difference between price and cost. So you need to do it right, and then you won't be caught up in some of this viruses and ransomware that's out there. Thank you for watching the video. Again, this is Jim Gibson with Cable Supply and Nova Voice and Data Systems, and I hope you have a great day, and I hope you didn't get this ransomware. It's really nasty. Talk with you later. Bye.